everyone. So I actually got a request to do this video, so I'm really happy and excited to do it. The request was to take you guys through my climbing journey, how I got started, and all of that good stuff. So I guess let's start this from the very beginning. When I was a kid, I was very adventurous, loved playing outdoors with all my cousins. We were always running around, climbing on stuff, climbing trees, you know, getting dirty. And then as I was growing up, I was always playing sports. I was always in some kind of sport, but nothing really ever stuck. I did softball like 3 separate times after quitting. I did soccer for 1 year. I danced. I was a cheerleader. I did a little bit of everything, but nothing really lasted long term. And then when I got into college, I stopped playing sports, but I started to get into just like general fitness. I was going to the gym, I was doing pop Pilates, and I got really into being active and like yoga and things like that. So I found out that in Central Park, they were doing a free activity day. The main thing that I wanted to do there was the free rock climbing. No, it was not rock climbing on the actual boulders in Central Park. It was those big walls that they have at fairs. We waited over an hour online to get one go at climbing up to the top of this big thing. I didn't even make it to the top, but when we were walking out, there was a table for broken boulders there, and they handed us a flyer, and my mind literally was blown because I found out for the first time ever that there were places where you could go specifically to go rock climbing. And I did not know that existed before, that rock climbing gyms were even a thing, or that people actually did this like all the time. And I was so excited, I was so ready to go. When I graduated college in May 2017, I think like 2 weeks later, me and my boyfriend went to Island Rock on Long Island. And oh man, it was just the start of the best thing ever for me. My boyfriend at the time did not enjoy it really, nearly as much as I did. He never went back. Turns out, one of my oldest friends from middle school came home and we were catching up over dinner, and she said that she had seen my Instagram post that I went rock climbing, and she had gone rock climbing too while she was away at school, and did I want to go with her? Of course, yes. I was so excited to find that out. That summer, me and her went to Island Rock once a week, every week, for months. We were wearing our rental shoes, we were paying our day pass fees, and we were learning the basics, meeting people, and just having so much fun. End of that summer, she goes back to school. I go to grad school in New York City, so I moved there. And that meant I couldn't be going to Island Rock every week, but that there were this whole world of gyms opening up to me. There are more gyms in New York City and the surrounding area than you can count on 2 hands. Like, there are so many to choose from. So I actually got hooked up with the campus rec at my school, the new school, and once a month or so, they did rock climbing outings, and we went to a bunch of different gyms throughout the city. We went to Steep Rock, we went to Brooklyn Boulders, both Queensbridge and Gowanus. We went all over the place, and it was a lot of fun. And I found that I really liked Brooklyn Boulders, Queensbridge, so on my own, maybe every other week, I would head out there and climb. So my whole school year was basically that, climbing once a week. I was working out in the gym in my building a few times a week, so I was staying active and fit, but really all I wanted to be doing was climbing. So that summer was when I really started climbing a lot. I came home from school, I got an Island Rock membership, and that was it. I was going there 3-4 times a week, spending as much time there as I could. Honestly, Island Rock has the best climbing community ever. I love that gym, I love everybody in it. So yeah, so I really started making friends, and it made climbing that much more fun. Me and Erica took a trip to Maine and then around Canada, just a road trip, but we snuck some climbing in there. It was actually my first outdoor climbing experience ever. We went to Otter Cliff in Acadia National Park with a guide, the two of us, and we just did some really easy top ropes, although at the time it felt like the most epic thing ever. And that was really awesome, but it was like a really novel experience. I'd never climbed outside before. I barely had ever top roped, so it was something totally different than I was used to. So as the summer continued, I kept climbing at the gym, making a lot of friends, and then one of my climbing friends invited me to go to East Marion out on Long Island to go bouldering. So 2 weekends in a row, I went bouldering with a bunch of people from the gym at East Marion, but still at this time I was mostly just indoor bouldering. So the next school year comes around and I moved to Brooklyn to finish my last year of grad school, and I happen to live 20 minutes away from this brand new gym called Metro Rock. So I would go there once or twice a week. I would walk over. I wasn't climbing as much as I was over the summer, but I was trying to keep it up and really train for climbing specifically in my other workouts. By March of that year, it was getting nice outside again, so I made it a goal to climb outdoors. Again, with a bunch of friends from the gym, we went to Ice Pond once, and then we went to Power Lines a couple times, both bouldering areas near New York City, Long Island. So we went bouldering there a few times, and I was really determined to climb outdoors more, build up my bouldering strength. So as my last semester of school was coming to a close, I was going to be moving out of my apartment in Brooklyn, coming home. I was going through a breakup, and climbing was like the only thing that I really cared about at that moment. And when I came home from school after finishing, I lived at the gym. I was at Island Rock probably 5 days a week. I was doing regular workouts there. I was climbing for hours and hours. I, on a whim, booked a trip by myself to Chattanooga, Tennessee to climb with She Moves Mountains, which is now Space Below Your Feet. So I went on a weekend climbing trip in Chattanooga, where I met a bunch of lovely ladies, and we climbed for 4 days and did yoga and ate really good food and hung out and had laughs and climbed hard and had a lot of fun. That's when I really knew that I wanted to start focusing not only on climbing outdoors but also rope climbing, because that just sparked something in me where it was just so much fun. So at this time I finally decided to get LEED certified, which was something I had been really scared about. I was a boulderer for a year and a half, and you know, I didn't even get belay certified until I was already so far into climbing. I just thought bouldering is good, like I'm fine close to the ground. I decided I wanted to get LEED certified because I really wanted to expand my horizons. So I took my LEED test and I passed, and I started LEED climbing with a couple of friends in the gym. It was around this time that I started talking to Eric, who is now my boyfriend. I knew him from the gym, kind of. I'd seen him on these bouldering trips a few months earlier, but he didn't spend a lot of time at the gym because he was always climbing outdoors, and that was something that I really wanted to get into. I was telling him that I really wanted to, you know, start doing new things with climbing. I wanted to climb outdoors. I wanted to do longer climbs, rope climbs, all this stuff. So he invited me to go trad climbing with him at the Gunks by New Paltz. And that day that we went trad climbing, multi-pitch, mind you, first time ever. We did, I think, 3 multi-pitch routes, which was not something I ever saw myself doing. 1, following trad, 2, multi-pitch climbing. So scary, but the coolest thing ever. After that day, I knew, it was like, I just knew that I want to climb for the rest of my life. Like, I want to be doing this because it just feels so good, and it's so cool, and it's so fun, and it's like, who does this? You know, you're 200 feet off the ground and you're just like, what? Anyway, so we went trad climbing that one time, changed my life. So we started dating, then got into our relationship, and we were climbing throughout that whole summer. spending a lot of time at the gym, but also getting outdoors a lot, going up to the gunks. And my friend Erica, who I had started climbing with, and her boyfriend Jake down in Maryland, they asked me to join them for a 5-day trip to the New River Gorge in West Virginia. I did my first outdoor sport lead, 5'7", but I was really proud of myself. And then when I came back, Eric and I took a 2-week trip. Our plan was to go kind of all over the Northeast, but we ended up really hanging out in the Adirondacks for 2 weeks, which is totally fine. There is so much climbing there and it is so cool. The most climbing I'd ever done, we'd done like 3,000 feet of climbing by the end of the trip. And you know, I had just gotten into outdoor climbing. I had just gotten into rope climbing. Like, I couldn't believe that I was doing all of that. And then in October, so a month later, we went up to the gunks and I did my very first trad lead after following trad for like 3 or 4 months. I was leading a 5'7" in the gunks somehow. And that's the thing, that's another thing that I said I would never do. Every time I came up to something, I was like, nah, I'll never lead climb. All right, I'll lead climb, but like, that's it. No, I'll never climb trad. All right, I'll follow trad, but that's it. I'll never lead trad. And then I was leading. And it's crazy how you can just show yourself over and over again that you're capable of more than you thought. And that is something that I really love about climbing, because every time I come up to something where I'm like, no, I can never do this, I prove to myself that I can, because I just love what I'm doing. So actually, that day that I did my first trad lead was the last good climbing day that we got for the season. So we have been back at the gym all winter. Me, Eric, our friends Nick and Lauren have been climbing a lot. A couple other things we sprinkled in there this winter were 2 climbing competitions. Have videos on both of them. My first was my first ever bouldering competition, and then me and Eric did a couples climbing competition at Central Rock Gym in Manhattan, and that was a total blast. So much fun. But now that the weather is getting nicer, we are hoping to get outdoors. We just got back from a trip to Moab where we did a week of climbing. We did a lot of really awesome stuff. I led my first desert tower. I stood on top of ancient art, which was the craziest thing ever. And I know I keep saying that everything was the craziest thing ever, but it's really true. Like, the coolest moments of my life have been climbing. So I'm really excited to see what this season brings. My first full outdoor season, hopefully, if we get out of quarantine soon. Eric and I are hopefully going to be going to Squamish in June, and then Yosemite in September for 2 weeks. Fingers crossed it all works out. I'm super, super, super excited for this year and all of the climbing that we are going to be doing. I know, I'm 3 years into this, and it is just the beginning. I'm still opening so many doors. I am still learning so much from so many people, and I can't wait to see what I'm capable of. Climbing is just really special, and I love it, and I'm excited to do it forever. And I know that it's easy to get caught up in what grades you're climbing, how hard you're climbing, other people are progressing faster than you, blah, blah, blah. But you have to think of climbing, if it's something you want to be doing for the rest of your life, you have to think of it as a long-term thing. This past summer, I was climbing 5 days a week, really hard, bouldering V5, V6. So then I hurt my shoulder, and I've been going to physical therapy once a week for a few months now. And so I'm not climbing the same level. But that's okay, because I'm rehabbing my shoulder, and it's gonna get better, and I'm gonna start climbing harder. And I'll be able to climb longer, and it'll be a sustainable thing. And that's what's really important to me, because I want to be doing this long term. It's just so natural. It feels like my body was made to climb. And I believe that, I can't imagine doing anything else. All my life, I tried this, so many different things, and nothing ever stuck. And finally, when I started climbing, something stuck, and I wanted to get better, and I wanted to be better. I wanted to do what I had to do, and I wanted to commit myself to this thing. I've never felt that before. Yeah, I'm just really grateful for climbing. I'm really grateful to have something in my life that motivates me, that makes me happy, that has connected me to so many amazing people, and is always challenging and always fun and exciting, frustrating sometimes, but in a way that makes me want to be better. I'm really, really grateful I found it.
I did not just get that on video.